first and foremost issue is that what is a home made out of? And this is a big thing that separates from most of the crowd, is that we do not, will not, under any circumstances, build homes out of concrete. That's the standard in Costa Rica, and it's one that even 13 years later completely baffles me as to why. There's no fundamentally good reason for this. Concrete is not good in heat because it has no insulation whatsoever. Worse yet, it brings about what I call the pizza oven effect, that it heats up with the sun beating on it all day, it heats up, and at night it radiates off all of those hundreds of thousands of calories into your house when you want to go to sleep at night, hence the pizza oven effect. The second thing is, concrete is not flexible. We live in an area of the world that is seismically active. The ground moves around. So as to say to people, if the ground is dancing, your house needs to dance with it. Well, concrete, stands up rigid. Well, when things start moving around, it breaks. Now, if we go back to the 1988 earthquake in San Francisco, how did all the people die? They got pancaked by tons of concrete falling on them. Not a place where I want to be. So basically, that's one of the fundamentals, and what we use is a product called a structural insulated panel. This is a sample. You'll see the stills, of course, in our video, and on the webpage you can see the button regarding the steps. This is basically the system that we use, and these panels, as I said, that's what's in our container on the way to us right now. Now this is a typical exterior of a panel, showing a sample of the exterior with an acrylic stucco applied to it. And you definitely want acrylic, because in our climate, stuff grows on anything that's cement. This will not grow anything, so it will stay looking like that. The other side of the panel is just an example of basically being the interior of the home being treated like drywall. It's just taped, mud put on the joints, sanded, painted, and you're ready to go. You can do other finishes, of course, on the exterior if you don't want this, but this is, very effective, very economical to go with that. Now, very importantly with the SIPs, and there's a whole section on this, so I'm not going to go into, but this is just a general overview of what we do and why we do it. Now, this is a sample of magnesium oxide. That's one of the unique things about this particular system, is the skins of these panels are covered in magnesium oxide, which is a product that nobody who's come to us has had any idea about this product. It is exclusively manufactured in China, and we deal with an Australian company who is 50% owner of the production plant in China, so very important. That's where the source of the material is. Now here's a sample. We took this to prove it's fire resistant, and this here part here, as you can see, that is the result of taking an acetylene torch, or 2,400 degrees Celsius, and putting it on the magnesium. It didn't burn. But more importantly, we found out through that little experiment, aside from proving that it burns, and again there's videos on the site, and there's tons on YouTube to find that show that it's very resistant. But what it doesn't do is allow transfer of heat. It has a very high resistance to the flow of heat, cold, whatever it may be. And when we heated this up and we took the torch off there, you could grab the edge of the panel. Now we did a curious thing. We decided to peel the face off this panel many months later when a new roofing product came out called Gecko roofing. And we wanted to see, well, just how resistant would this be for sun and heat from the sun entering the roof of a house? A very critical point in the tropics to stop that heat from getting in. Anyways, we peeled this off and we looked at the back, and you may notice there that it's not even yellowed. This is styrofoam. Core styrofoam, which is a very low temperature resistance, not even enough heat transferred through here to yellow the styrofoam. So that gives us a very good indication as to just how resistant your home is going to be to heat. And considering you're looking at a home in the tropics, it is not a subtle issue, to put it mild. This is a very economical and highly efficient building system. Basically, we leave everybody in the dust. A typical home here goes 9 to 15, 18 months under construction. With this, basically a structure or home is up in a month or so, depending on the size of the home, and for us, more often the complexity of the roof, because we build fairly complicated roofs, and the roof becomes very much a part of the home. Like this is a laminated beam built out of acacia, which is a plantation grown wood. We like that simply because it is termite resistant. Generally they will not have anything to do with this. When it's laminated like this, it's very strong and it's very straight. It comes from the factory straight. 6 months later it'll be straight. 66 years later it'll be straight. And it puts on a heck of a show, which is the whole thing, is to take this roof and make a showpiece out of it. Anyways, other products that we typically use, okay, here's our PEX, our plumbing pipe that we exclusively use. Now there's videos also on the site here in the videos button on YouTube that go into great detail about what PEX pipe is all about. Very critical in having a well-functioning, maintenance-free plumbing system, and one that has no contaminants in it whatsoever from glues and whatnot, but you can go into more details on that as your investigation carries on. Now, we generally we have basically a standard of quality. You find that in another button on the site, and it'll break down everything over several pages of exactly what's going into that home. Because just to say, for example, that we can build your house for $60 a square foot, that's relatively irrelevant if you don't know what does it relate to. That gives you the specific details of exactly what you're getting for your money in there, and those are our minimum standards. You can always improve, we just won't go back. Because we will build economical homes, let's not confuse that with a cheap home. A cheap meaning a lot of low-grade products, a lot of plastic, in finishes and whatnot, that we don't do. It's basically our clients are looking for quality and affordability, and that's what this system does, and particularly the efficiency in which we operate allows us to do that and run a housing project much more like it would be in Canada versus the typical manana time that we find in the tropics here. Now this is a typical PVC window. That's our standard, very good window built here in Costa Rica, extremely economical. This is the standard grade. There is a beefed up, larger extrusion, so that, you know, that's an upgrade that the person can go to. And then there is an extreme extrusion upgrade, and that's going into, this is a German manufactured, and these can come in various colors, and when they're done, they are extremely convincing that they're actually a wood window. More expensive, but you know, not necessary, but it's an upgrade that is certainly there. Looking at modern day products, here's another recycled plastic. This is basically for driveways. We put those in instead of concrete. You know, basically it creates a better ambience around the home and fitting in with the sort of the green motif and avoiding concrete wherever and however possible. When we use concrete strictly in foundation work and in water control and things like this, but wherever we can avoid it, because of it being such a massive environmental offender, we try to avoid it at all costs. But anyways, that's a basic introduction that I wanted to give you today to sort of give you an idea of what we do here at Techos Siglo XXI and why we do it, and from there it basically amounts to you doing your studying. We like to have educated customers who have a good idea of what's going on. You know, this is a no BS zone. You know, you got a question, we'll answer the question gladly. If it's not on the website, but as I said, there's a ton of information. You'll spend literally hours studying and understanding what goes on in Costa Rica and how to avoid the typical problems that are so extremely prevalent that can cost you such a large amount of money and grief. And if you go through the website, you'll see all the rescue missions that we've done, the referrals from customers that we've dealt with, you know, and to know that we're very real. We certainly know what's going on in Costa Rica, and honestly, and not to sound arrogant, but when we say we build the best house in Costa Rica, that's just a fact. In 13 years here, I've never left a project or a home saying they're doing as good a job as we can do. It has never happened. I'm sure someday it may happen, but so far it hasn't. There's just very few people that are interested or play at a truly top-level performance in the world-class game. Other than that, it's about opening up a line of communication with you, to talk to us, to see what we can do to help fulfill your dream home in what we call paradise. With that, have yourself a great day, and we look forward to seeing you in Costa Rica and exploring what your dream is all about.